Welcome to this video week. We are kind of blending from the modalities of channeling and then going into the topic of creating ceremony and ritual, which are two separate things but also intertwined. So the modalities of channeling. Essentially, we experience our lens and our world from our sensory experience, which is also how we experience channeling and psychic messages. My lens is that some of us are born with really natural, high-level types of channeling, and then sometimes we develop them through experiences, and also my lens is that we all have the capacity to tap into all the modalities of channeling. And you can do that through exercises, playing, practicing in a very like day-to-day practical way. You can play with manifesting or, put yourself in a situation. For example, someone I know would go into a busy public area and play with how they could feel people's energy and start to sort of really put the intention behind that practice, and also see how they can impact through their telepathic or telekinesis or various channeling abilities. So we can put ourselves in situations that allow us to practice these. Every day we encounter situations, whether conscious or unconscious. And I think, the most understandable modality would be what we call empathy, the empath, right? Which is the ability to channel someone else's feelings, really. It is a form of channeling. That is how I see it. It's the ability to experience the experience of someone else, and you're channeling their emotional body or their energetic body. And some people are naturally very sensitive in that area, and then they're not given the tools to understand it. And so negative things can happen. You can literally get ill by taking on too many emotions of other people. And then also confusion. Confusion is kind of a negative consequence of not mastering that psychic ability of being able to read other people's emotions, because you want to be able to discern between what your emotions are. You want to be able to turn it off. You want to be able to go into a place and decide whether you're going to read people's emotions. That's when you get into a level of mastery. And you do that, again, going back to the beginning of this class, with intention and practice, right? Everything is about intention and the intentions we put into our practice. So the core modalities of channeling are related to our senses. And in our classroom poll, we discovered that most people experience a sense of knowing, and I myself relate to that. And there's things I encounter in life where I have a ritual for, or I have an understanding of how it works. You might be able to craft woodworking really easily. And it's like, where does that come from, right? I think there's different ideas about that. I think one is we bring in gifts from other lives, from parallel lives, or what people call past lives. We also, on a metaphysical level, our higher self can go and learn things and know things and bring it back to our human self. And so it's a really powerful gift to have this knowing. I think it's also the one modality that's been persecuted the most, that if you're not aware psychically, if you're not practicing and tapping into that part of yourselves, you could really dismiss that information as nonsensical, or someone else might dismiss it. And I think that happens a lot in our society. Another pretty common one is through visions. Our subconscious, supposedly statistically, our subconscious mind understands the world in basically two main modalities, and that is through 55% through visuals, and the other 45% supposedly is through sound. And so it's why when we do really deep healing traumatic work, you can't really do it in the thinking brain. You have to do it in the subconscious brain, which is a lot of times where art therapy or meditative work is the most powerful, because you get into the process of sound and you can get into the process of visions and seeing. So going into shamanic journeys and going into guided meditations where you're working with your inner child, or you're just doing creative, imaginative visuals to journey and heal some things, actually is really powerful for excavating those really subconscious wounds or behaviors that might be causing a lot of blocks or limits in your life. And so the modality of visions, I think, is a really another most common one, because we are very visual people and we dream a lot. We spend a lot of our time dreaming. And so ultimately, while we're dreaming, that part of our brain, if we're listening to our dreams, if we're recording our dreams, if we're sharing our dreams verbally, that is going to strengthen that modality. It's going to strengthen that channel, and it's going to make us even more able to see. And there's tools you can use to activate that. Last night, I wanted to do some specific subconscious work in the dream world. And so I put mugwort, which is a dream medicine plant. I put it in my pillow and asked for a specific dream message. And I went into a very lucid state where I was very conscious, but also unconscious, in sort of being able to navigate and travel in that dream world, which is really powerful and really fun for me. And so we can really always bring our intention into everything we do. If you want a specific, if dreams are really powerful for you, and I know there's some people in this class and program where this is a very strong medicine for them, then write a question down or put an intention right before you go to bed to ask for a specific message, or to be seen, see something specific. It doesn't always come in the way that you want, but you'll at least touch into it, and then you'll start to crack open that portal to do more work on that area. Yeah, and then using like our earth conscious anchors, like plant medicines, like the mugwort is an herb, and mentoring with those teachers is a really powerful way to like magnify your intentions and to anchor them into this beautiful world. With any of our modalities, the more that we create a ceremony and ritual around our intentions, the stronger our intentions will be. In fact, religion itself is actually a really powerful tool for developing people's will and intention. The will is the third chakra. When we attach ourselves onto beliefs, we already talked about this, then it connects and strengthens our will. Now, the problem that gets into religion is that we get so attached, we can be blinded to the truth, and we could be doing things that aren't actually in the greatest good of ourselves and others. And there's tons of examples of that, as you guys already know. And so using the visual modality of channeling is a really powerful way to strengthen your psychic gifts, because it's so accessible. And you can use the help and marry it with sound. Sound is also the divine energy is sound and vibration. I went on a journey a while ago and really connected with the Council of Light, and they were light and sound. They were an energy. There was no form. It was this pure light blue radiant, palpable sound and feeling. And so sound taps into a higher consciousness, and or at a lower vibration can block you from higher consciousness. So it's really important to be mindful of what you're consuming as far as your sound and your vision goes. Um, Drumming is a powerful way. It mimics our heartbeat. It's like the earth resonance. And so it puts us in a trance modality. And so using drumming and then our own visual, we can just be really open and allow for whatever visions want to come, just to play in that field or to receive kind of spontaneous messages from divine energy. Or we can call in specific helpers to take us on journeys. Spiritually, we can use other people's, like we have in this class a little bit with some of my guided meditations, we can use someone else's guidance to kind of bring us into the practice of finding specific metaphysical tools or doing healing work. And so using sound and guided visualization is definitely such a powerful way to channel. Some of the another one that I would say is a frank. So we have instant knowing, we have visions, dreams, symbols. Then we have sound, or hearing words can come to us. Sometimes I see words. It's a combination. The visual aspect, and then we have what is like a body, a physical channel. And so, for example, sometimes I'll have a session and I'll start to feel something in a specific area of my body, and I'll vocalize that to my client. And then they can easily connect it to an experience they had, whether it's positive or negative. For example, a client once had a head trauma, and I was feeling a lot of this congested energy in my head. And so it brought me to the place of like, did something happen in your head? And yes, it had. And it was a pretty significant place in that person's life that needed to be honored, witnessed, and healed in a way that just bringing it forward, we were able to do. And so, and the beautiful thing is, if you get into a practice, you can get to a place where you can get to a place where you're not feeling those things outside of when you want to feel them. Again, it's like that mastery, learning how to activate it and set the attention, which goes back into ceremony and ritual practices, and then to let it go when you're not, when you're not in a place where you want to feel someone else's stuff, and which if you do it unconsciously can drain your own energy. And so one simple way of not losing yourself to that is embodiment and alignment of health and wellness as the core foundation of this start of this class is about. And that's why it is about that, is it's so important to be mentally, emotionally, physically, and energetically well, to be able to channel in a way that doesn't affect your human self. It doesn't affect your the layers of who you are, so that it's more of a gift that you can use to interact with the world, to manifest with the world, to bring mirroring and healing to someone else. Yeah. All right. I really enjoy talking about getting into kind of the specifics of channeling. It really, it's just so fun to me to be aware of how multidimensional we are, and how much that in itself actually brings us to a place of alignment. This is Hathor from the Sophia Code jewelry line, and Hathor is really a powerful spirit to work with that teaches us how multidimensional we are, how we can travel to places by simply bringing our focus and attention and our strength into that. And it gets you into a place where you can sort of expand your energy, and you can raise your vibration, and you can affect the world in a different way, in a good way. Okay. And so feel also emotional feelings. We talked about that. Empathy it is a form of channeling. Some of the less talked about or less common modalities are, one is smell, which is actually one that I have. It's a really interesting psychic experience, and it's in different ways you can experience it. For one, you can smell people's energy, or like if they're sick, you can smell emotions. You can smell, I get psychic smells where there's certain fragrances associated with spirits that I know of, ancestors, loved ones that have passed on. And then sometimes it's hard to even know what the message is for me with smelling, because I'll get like a whiff of something, and I won't understand where it's coming from. And then that's just a practice of asking then your higher self, what is the purpose of this smell and this message? I'm sure taste is one too, because it's a sense. And so much like smell, we can probably taste the energy of people. We can, yeah. And then the other one is touch. And touch, I think of more esoterically as sort of the feeling and the energy, and use it like Reiki. We can affect people through and we don't even actually touch. We're like sending it through the idea of touch. And so there is sorry, I'm looking at my notes. We have the clair names for these. So clairvoyance is clear seeing, and it's like clarity, right? Clairaudience is hearing. Clairsentience is feeling. Claircognizance is that knowing. According to this reference, they also talk about prophecy as being a modality. And I think you get that from the claircognizance. And and so you in clairolfactance, that's clear smelling. And so you can actually branch out of those, and there's even more modalities that get more specific. And you can get into like the elements of witches and Wiccan ideas, such as weather divination or elemental, which is more about getting into the ritual and using the gifts of the earth to activate and magnify our modalities of channeling. And why even speak to this? Why do we have a channeling temple? What's the purpose of all this? There's many purposes, but to me, it's like we are here to create. Creating is our truth. It's the truth of nature. It's the gift of being a human being, and being able to create. And we're creating all the time. We're creating with our thoughts, our feelings, creating our reality. And so when we have a better understanding of channeling and psychic abilities, we actually get to expand our creativity, and we get to use it as a tool for creating and for moonifesting or manifesting or femanifesting, however you want to call it. And we get to use our channel, our divine energetic channel, to stream a higher level of opportunity, and to be able to manipulate, and not in a bad way, but we are always manipulating, but to be able to take our power back in the ability to manipulate our surroundings to create the most harmony for ourselves. And I think we resist this. I think um, our modern world is so congested and confusing and frenetic in many ways that we think that's who we are, and we think we have to keep up, and so it keeps us from actually being at our best channeling selves. And having gone through this great transformation and just leaping into moving and relocating has shown me how frenetic the inner cities are, and like coming from the Bay Area where everything and everybody is constantly in motion and cars and working, and and it's not all bad. It's people doing wonderful things too and fun things, but it's like constant spinning. You're in that. That is gonna create confusion within you unless you're being really active and committed to earthing and to clearing your channel, and to doing the guided work, the guided meditations, and to creating your own rituals that work for you in your life to be able to open up your channel. And then when you're doing all that, you get to have fun with how you want to channel, and how to open up your gifts of channeling. And so if your strength is knowing, that doesn't mean you can't practice on being prophetic, or you can't practice on increasing your ability to discern and read other people's feelings, and read even, read into them more. And so when we do that, and the more people that do that, the more we get to be mirrors for other people to do that as well. And if we're all doing that, then honestly, we will have a less frenetic world. We have a less confusing world. The goal will not be to constantly be in motion. It will be a balance of the feminine energy of resting and receiving the information that we can receive to create a new earth, or to create a better paradigm, where we're not trapped in the rat race. I have this beautiful book. It's called The Lens of Perception, and it's a great book to get to understand even deeper about how to increase our perceptual self. And I'm going to do an exercise in it, and it's a meditative exercise. So at this point, I would love for you to get into a relaxed place. Maybe take a sip of water. Okay, if you can close your eyes now, and I'm going to guide you in this. Just start to notice and get your body connected into your seat. Feel the connection you have to the ground or the floor. And start to feel the outer edges of your body. And then imagining and seeing the energetic body beyond that physical body. And bring in your focus into your center. It can be either your heart or your navel, whatever comes to you instantly. And you're going to start to imagine that there is 9 light beams coming from that center out all sides of your body. And these light beams are going to connect to the room that you're in, or the place that you're in. If you're in a nature spot when you're hearing this, it's going to connect you to the trees that are around you. You're basically creating kind of a web of your own light to anchor you. And then you're going to imagine that one strong light root is going down the center of your body, down out your root chakra, and anchoring down into the dirt and the earth. And going down through the layers of the earth and the dirt and the moist center, going through water streams, all the way down into the center of this beautiful Mother Earth, where it is anchoring through that fire of creation below. And that is holding you through. And then you're going to imagine another light cord going up out your crown, up your 8th chakra, 9th chakra, and then all the way up, all the way up past the skyline, past the next skyline, up into the ethers, connecting you to that seventh plane consciousness, that pure light, the council of light. Yes. Okay. And then you're just going to notice how this feels to be so connected to everything around you. And because your human self is now completely relaxed and connected to your surroundings, you're just going to take a moment and go back to that prior exercise where we imagined a space or a person or a place that felt so loving and so peaceful. Doesn't matter what comes to you now. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's the same. Just imagining a sanctuary within your mind that brings you utter peace across your body, pouring that energy around and out through all your connections that you're sending out to the middle of the earth, to the ethers above, and to the room or place that you're in. And now that we're anchored in this loving, peaceful feeling, we are going to do a little traveling. Having grounded and centered yourself and having your eyes closed, you're going to imagine yourself moving at a tremendous rate of speed into outer space, thousands of miles above the home planet. Be assured that as you make this journey, you are safe, secure, and comfortable. Recognizing that through the vehicle of consciousness, you can travel to any place you wish in the universe. Now imagine that you have landed in another place, another planet, and you're seated in this planet and looking out back on beautiful Mother Earth, which is a brilliant blue sphere surrounded by swirling crystal white clouds glowing in the light from the sun. The planet seems almost to breathe as it slides evenly through space. Clouds and oceans shift restlessly like expressions changing on a face. As you observe, you imagine the millions and billions of organisms, from the tiniest one-cell creations to humankind itself, all existing together on this blue sphere. Imagine a sound, the song of the life force itself, that is so much a part of this planet, this beautiful Mother Earth. It's a collective humming of millions upon millions upon millions and millions of living things. A symphony of human voices, the cacophony of a billion birds, the howls of monkeys, jungle cats, the croaking of frogs in the marshes, howling of coyotes, the trees blowing and whispering and moving in the wind, the storms and the light and the peace and the calm, all in this beautiful Mother Earth cradle. An immense chorus is transmitting the spirit of the living earth all the way through space into this place where you're perched and observing. With your eyes focused on your beloved planet, Mother Earth, you become aware of the watery boundaries between continents, and then of the boundaries between one country and another. These boundaries dissolve in your mind's eye since you are now seeing the planet as one. Every life form, every rock, every drop of water, every atom, and even every subatomic particle being integral parts of the one. You see all peoples bound together by a consciousness as large as the planet itself, joining all. Now your thoughts swirl in on themselves, all your images of the blue planet and its inhabitants, sparkling with the pure energy from which they are made. Feel your own consciousness, your visualization of the planet, and all it contains is a single cell of thought and energy, merging with billions of other cells of energy and thought existing on your planet, created by all life forms. Feel all of this merge into one, a spirit with no boundaries, extending out through endless time, endless space, without beginning, middle, or end. Here, beyond boundaries of any kind, all is one. Take a minute and feel the power of this message and this energy. Allow yourself to soak in that you are a part of this source energy. that we are all a part of this source energy. And that through our connection, we are a loving, compassionate people and life forms, shifting in every moment. And every moment that we shift our own consciousness into a portal that is better than the one we lived in the moment before, that seeking, that work that we're doing, we are adding and changing the entire whole of consciousness. That all is perfect and all is divine in this concept. Take a minute to put your hand on your heart. I'd like you to call in a prayer, something that you would like to expand into in the next week. It can be a big dream, it could be a little dream, it could be simple. It could be a feeling that you want to experience more often. It could be a material item that you'd like to call into your life. Together as a group consciousness, whoever is watching this and experiencing this meditation will bless your calling, and we will bless theirs, that it will come into flow with ease and grace for the greatest good of all. Aho. I would like to just take a minute to come back into the space of listening and connecting. And I would like to invite each of you to choose a modality that you're not as strengthened in, and to practice with that modality. Practice in a way that's simple and accessible, but that allows you to see how you can grow this particular modality of channeling. And use it to play with the multiverse, to play with your surroundings, to strengthen your psychic muscle. I'd like to end with a blessing and a transmission of whatever is coming through. I honor each of you that are participating in this channeling temple. I know we are all in different places. I know we are all traveling in our own life force, but yet we are all connected in this energetic space. That we all have the highest ability to receive channeled messages, that we can connect with our guides, we can tap into the different modalities, just with our intention, with our focus and our will. That the work that we're doing in these areas is really powerful. And whether you're actively sharing or not, I invite you to honor that you're here, that you've made this choice, which means you are receiving, that you are connecting with the other people, that you are creating a community of channeling, of this channeling temple, that it's only going to grow. And that as we expand into the winter solstice, that we can cultivate those deep parts of ourselves, those dark parts of ourselves that want to be nourished and tended to and loved in a beautiful and resting way. That we can allow the storms of our soul to come through without resisting them. That we can express them in a way that's healthy. And if we want to be witnessed, to know that this is a safe place to do it, that I'm available, your peers are available, that we are here to support you in whatever process you are in. I am excited to be in Shasta and to draw this energy that's coming through. I feel like my visions are more clear and that I can give in a new and fresh way. And I will, am committed to offering more posts and invitations within the Facebook group so that we can interact more, like the poll and stuff like that. And so blessings to everyone that made it to this call. And I'm wishing you a wonderful winter solstice and gratitude. And I look forward to seeing your thoughts on this video. Thank you.